Hey there, everyone. Welcome. It's Lotus. Nice to have you here. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to share an excerpt. I'm going to do a little bit of a reading from my book, Awakening from the Dream, a Kundalini memoir. And I'm going to read a little bit in here that gives us a bit more of an experiential example of all of this divine union that we're talking about and the experiences of oneness and this space, right? This consciousness that we are slowly moving into as we go through our awakening process, both collectively and individually. So some of you are probably going to be familiar with this kind of experience, but I wanted to, I want to just start sharing some of these as transmissions because that is actually in part what they are. When we're working, as some of you may know, with higher level teachers or gurus, those who are more masters within, I think more so we see it within the Eastern traditions, within the yogic traditions. So a lot of my book, especially the first part of my book, is that relationship with my guru and the gifts that he had, the skills, the powers, which really is just an expanded, elevated consciousness that has been able to master specific faculties, so to speak, right? And so I had the privilege and honor to be initiated and to be activated in many ways and in many experiences that allowed me to tap into the higher truths. And then my job was, how do I have an experience and then integrate it and move through my life and my practices and my purifications and my honing my own inner realms so that I could begin living from those spaces of grace, as I used to call it. So this is what I would call the altar of my heart. And this was, I'll just give a little background. This was within the first year of my my Kundalini awakening, and it was the second time that I had gone to Colorado to see him. So I had seen him once. He is a Shaktiput guru, which means that this is what he does for aspirants who are ready, right? They're able to receive the transmission to awaken the Kundalini, and that relationship then with that feminine force of Divine Mother begins to guide the aspirant, in this case myself, from inside in deeper spiritual communications and ways. This particular second visit was the first time that I was able to receive psychic connection with him. And it was that initiation where I opened up enough, and he does whatever he does to support that opening so that I could be in communication with him psychically. And I'm not going to go through like the initial things that I was going through before this happened, because it was actually rather humorous. My self-will was sort of running riot, and I was very attached to trying to and wanting to get a moment with the guru and have a moment to connect with him and share about everything that I had been experiencing over that first long part of the year. But that wasn't happening, and so, I was sort of in my own little tantrum, we could say, experience. So I had gone back to the dorms to go do my practice, because my inner practice working with Divine Mother and working with spontaneous postures was very different than what a class experience was of working with specific postures that were led and guided by the teacher. And this finds me back at my dorm room, going into prayer and beginning my practice, and then it all changed. So I invite you, as I read this, to just sit back as well and connect with your breath and just be comfortable and just listen, right? Because, Jesus said that we would be able to do what he did and more. And this is the ascension phase that we're in. And our gurus and the higher teachers also have been walking masters to their own degrees that have been displaying our potential and where it is that we are going in our spiritual development. So I will begin. So if you want to just sit back and relax and listen. In the privacy of my own room, a deeper level of what is possible was about to reveal itself to me. Opening with prayer and quickly sinking into the mesmerizing beauty of the inner seaweed-like waving of Divine Mother and the purple glow, I heard a voice speaking to me. The words were encouraging regarding trust and faith. The voice was obvious, but could it be so? My mind was jumping from its quiet pool with some cautious thoughts asking, what is going on here? Who is this talking to me? Am I imagining this? Is it really Gurudev? Is this really possible? And then the mind quieted slightly to hear. Quiet your mind and let go. That noise will immediately take you away from trust and faith. My hands begin to dance similarly as in the first visit. Gestures of mudras danced spontaneously and organically along my chakras, beginning at the base chakra and fluidly expressing their mysterious secrets up to the 7th chakra. Gurudev's voice continued speaking to me, teaching me, although not all of it registered consciously. I felt as though I was being worked with directly. He was attempting to validate the questions I'd been asking, so I wouldn't mistake his presence. Do not expect anything. Just deepen into what you are experiencing and trust my guidance. My hands were at my heart chakra, positioned, gesturing silently, and I felt receptivity down deep. It was the presence of faith as a divine quality, parting the curtains that were my doubt and ego. There was a breaking apart and breaking away of fear and resistance. You do not have to see me in person, which is why it's important to establish contact in this way. I will meet you at the altar of your heart. Again, all that was spoken faded in and out of my awareness. I was entranced with his voice inside my being, speaking to me and awakening this one's heart. A question was posed, and I wasn't clear at first if it had come from me or him. I had to wonder if I was creating some kind of fantasy. I was in my thoughts and out of them, all at the same time. It was all very curious. The question asked was, "Isn't it beautiful outside?" So simple and yet out of place. My hands continued to dance their sacred mudras, and I had an interesting sensation that I was looking out through his eyes. It was as if his body and my body were merged. I could see his nose as if it were mine, as well as his hair along my peripheral vision. I felt an undercurrent of panic, while also hearing his call of trust and letting go of the thoughts running through my mind. I was told, "Do not worry from where the guidance is coming. Just trust, let go, listen, and feel." I felt my body being moved to a standing position, and the momentum to walk coming through it automatically from a force that was not my own. I didn't know where I was walking. My eyes were only gently opened. Walking in a meditative zone, I followed the body and trusted. Finish your meditation outside. Stay in meditation the whole way. You will know where to go, he said. I was well aware of my thoughts as they were present in the recesses of my awareness. I realized I might feel very silly when all of this was over, yet how could I not explore what was taking place? I had been fantasizing on my way back from the meeting room that maybe I would be lucky enough to run into Gurudev, if it were meant to be, and then perhaps I could speak to him. After all, he was staying in a bungalow across the field from the dorms. It was possible. As I continued to walk, I was feeling a magnetic pull to the center of the field. I was sat down in a spot I'd been guided to by the gentle promptings of Divine Mother. My awareness and energy were drawn deep inward. Yet I could feel the mind racing with questions, questioning reality, fantasizing still that maybe Gurudev would come into the field. Breathe, relax, and let go, said the voice. The quieting of my mind was gradual as he guided me deeper within. I felt Divine Mother's gentle sway controlling my breath, calming the mind and relaxing the body. Let go of all expectations, or you will miss the lesson you were brought here for. Any thoughts still remaining were placed way in the back of my awareness, as if they were put on a shelf, and soon I lost all connection to them, or else they ceased to chatter. Instead, I began to hear Gurudev's voice. Begin to feel yourself on the earth. Feel the sun on your face. Feel the breeze against your skin. All of my senses became enlivened and intimately connected to the elements. It was as if my attention was guided into a widely receptive state, and I became acutely aware of the sound of the dried leaves on the trees that fluttered in the wind. I heard the barking of a dog off in the distance. There were a couple different bird songs being chirped all around me. The growling sound of trucks from somewhere far off in the distance and a horn beeping entered my awareness from off to my left side. All of the sounds, regardless of how subtle or distant, felt loud and palpable, and soon began to feel as a part of me. They were all perfect and harmonious. I felt from inside, not from a thought, that both the sounds of nature and those man-made were all perfect. There was an awareness that no wrong or right existed, no good or bad. I felt connected and at one with all of them. I am that I am. The oneness of it all embraced me. This is how it feels to live in the altar of your heart, he said. Now keep feeling deeply. There was a smile growing across my whole face, not just the mouth. I felt my chest expanding with a gentle warmth, and I felt tingling and stretching sensations widening into the openness that defies words. Let your edges merge and feel yourself disappear into all that you are, all that is. Feel the connection of all that is. My body was no longer solid. I dissolved into the wind, the sun, the ground, the sound of trucks. I knew the beauty and love for everything just as it was. I felt the magic and grace of what was being shown to me. The experience of oneness was in me, was God. When I finally solidified back into the body, so did my normal state of being and consciousness. However, my face was still smiling, and divine ecstasy filled my entire being. Gradually, my eyes effortlessly opened. The gaze remained soft as I slowly acclimated to the surroundings. Looking down, I saw I was sitting in a field of dried leaves that were all in the shape of a heart. It was as if I was literally sitting in the altar of my heart. I began laughing and crying, hardly able to receive all that had just been offered to me. I had no room to doubt the direct guidance of my experience, where it had led me, and the deepened faith and trust in Gurudev's love and guidance. It didn't escape me that I truly could have missed this amazing gift and blessing because of attachments and expectations. I truly didn't need to see him in the physical form, because he in form was not the point. The importance was the embodiment of his teaching, of truth, and the embodiment of receiving that truth, which goes beyond the ego and personality bodies. I left the weekend feeling deeply blessed, aglow, and filled with love, gratitude, and deep humility. So I'm going to leave that here for you just to sit with and to reflect on your own meditation practices, your own immersions into nature, your own opportunities to drop in, to let go of the chatter of the brain and the personality and the needs and the attachments, all of the noise that fills us, oftentimes from within, and all the stimulation from outside. And to recognize that as we move into higher states of unification, as we move into expanded states of oneness, we are moving into a whole new level of conscious expansion and in deep connection with all that is. And all that is held by and with and of divine source, life, love, God. All right. Many blessings, much love.